It was a very different age in 1930, for example, when I was born. I grew up in a distinctively Southern environment where history still mattered. I was fortunate that the values I learned from that world became my values. They became my compass by which I lived. By the mid-1950s, I came to New York to go to school for a while, and I think that's the first time I was ever really conscious of the Queen Mary. When I would see her moored out at the pier, it was a great time to be there.
And now the flow wasn't towards the New World, but away from it, a new generation of Americans. The sons and grandsons of those earlier immigrants came back to discover Europe.
My friend and I decided that we wanted to go to Europe, so I contacted a travel agent, and he helped us set this up. We originally were scheduled to go on the Queen Elizabeth, but at the last minute, we got on the Queen Mary. We were elated. The Queen Mary had a name and a history and an ambiance that no other ship of the time had. That's what you saw in the movies. That's what you saw on the screen. It was the essence of contemporary history. I had never imagined going to Europe in the first place, and going on the Queen Mary especially, that was like the fulfillment of a dream. I remember very well that the day we left, it was June the 19th, 1957. I was accustomed to New York Sound, but I remember how busy the traffic was that morning, how noisy it was, and all the sounds that were coming, all the bustle and hustle of the pier activity. It was a busy, sort of a feverish morning. The crowds, the dress, the excitement, the noise, all made it like something out of a dream. I was astounded. I was truly astounded by the size and the glamour of it, I guess. And glamour was a good 1950s word. It was the glamorous way to cross the Atlantic. Getting out of the taxi cab, going through customs, and then walking up and looking up the gangplank. At the very moment when you step from the mat into the ship, you were stepping into a completely new and different world. That was the moment. I thought, well, here I finally have made it. Here I am. This is it. This is the moment. To find someone else was not the reason I went, but I was certainly open to it. Of course, it happened so quickly. It happened the first night, but everything fell into place. Everything fell into place when I met Donna on the first night.
It was really very exciting just to walk into the room. And we hadn't been there very long until I remember Bob and Jerome, that turned out to be their names, came up to the table, and I could still see them standing there side by side.
At that moment was when I saw Donna. She fit very well in the magic of the setting and the magic of the room. I can still see Donna sitting there in that lovely black dress.
This was my dressy outfit for the ship, so it was a special dress for a special occasion. I just didn't know beforehand how special it was going to be. I had never been east of the Mississippi River until that trip. So I was determined that I was going to do everything possible to participate in life on the ship and, of course, in our travels in Europe.
We really had never experienced anything like this before, like being on the Queen Mary. This was something out of the ordinary for us. Everything was new. Everything was for the first time. From the first night, there was always music and an orchestra in the evening, and everybody dressed up to the nines. I was always impressed with how many good dancers there were, and thinking, I wish I could dance as well as that. And I couldn't, but I tried. We went on the decks, we went to the pool, we went to the restaurants. We had 5 wonderful days there together. It was a perfect meeting place and a meeting time.
I think I did wish that the trip would never end. I would have been terribly sad had that been the very last minute that we had planned.
I think there is a sense of sadness, especially the last night before the voyage ends. In our case, that feeling was there. But for us, we were confident. We were sure that we were at the beginning of something and not the end. The last morning, as Donna and her group were leaving the ship and were going down the gangplank, I was watching, standing on the deck above, knowing that I was going to see her shortly in Paris, but still I was sorry to see them go. And this woman came up to me and she said, "Sir, I think I should tell you that shipboard romances never last. That shipboard romances do last. Ours has lasted and has flourished since then."
We were married exactly 1 year later, June 19th, 1958. Counting the time on the Queen Mary, we saw each other 13 times, including the day we married.
Well, when I think about the fact that we almost didn't get on the Queen Mary, it's like it was meant to be, almost like it was out of our hands.
I do feel like it was that our meeting and our subsequent romance was meant to be. It was a chance encounter, but it turned into something worthy of a lifetime together. We relaxed on the Queen Mary in June of 1957, 59 years ago. It was a chance to remember and to remind ourselves of what a charmed life we've had.
When we first saw it, when we were coming down from Los Angeles, it had that same kind of magic to it.
She does have a magical presence, even now.
The Queen Mary symbolizes to me a sense of history, a sense of elegance, and a sense of grace, a sense of gentility. It stands out in its own unique way as different from all the rest. For us, it has its own personality, which is so much akin to the story that has been our privilege to have. I think it symbolizes the heart of our life together. It began and continues with our memories of the Queen.